you need to be aware of what you're getting into. And it's not just what these people who worked with Northwestern are alleging, but what any life insurance company is saying, including mine. You should always proceed with caution. Take what they say at face value, but do your research, do your due diligence. Like, for example, when I first started in the business, this was back in 2011, I started with a company called Equita. Very good company, still around, good people. And one of the reasons I started with them, because as I got into the business and I attended these opportunity meetings, they would talk about how they were going to teach me to recruit. Or I had been in an MLM type of situation before where this Project 100 list was a thing. And I realized, like, if I started hearing that stuff, I'm probably in this situation where I'm going to have to talk to my friends or family. I didn't feel comfortable doing it. I don't want to put my friends and family in a position where I barely know anything about insurance to go after them and try to sell them something that may not necessarily be in their best interest. Okay. Hey, if you're a newly licensed insurance agent and you're looking for a six-figure income earning opportunity without the multi-level marketing nonsense, check out my agency, the DIG Agency, by visiting davidduford.com or click the link below. So I saw that because I'd been exposed to that, and I walked away from some of these. A lot of y'all don't. Now, some of you do because you see my videos, of course. But you need to be very cautious. I'm not saying it's a bad opportunity, but you need to balance out what you're being told versus what you actually see. Okay. And I joined Equita because what their strategy was at the time, it's like ours at the DIG Agency, is to purchase leads, is to have people that are actually interested without having to harass friends and family to sell them something. And I call it harass. You may not think that way. That's fine. But at the time, I just didn't like that idea. And so the other side of that is that leads are the lifeblood of your business and life insurance. And what you want to do is make sure that you don't just have a temporary pool of people to prospect to. Prior to getting into insurance, I ran a personal training business, and I relied on marketing, advertorials, direct mail to constantly keep my pipeline full. So I knew that I had to pay in order to play. I had to generate leads from marketing in order to get myself in front of and close business. And I knew intuitively, if I had to just rely on friends and family, I'm going to eventually run out of friends and family. And plus, they may not want to talk to me anymore because I've harassed them enough, because you get a lot of pressure from the top to do this. That's another story. But the point is that the business is focused around, first and foremost, your ability to stay busy, seeing people who are actually interested in buying. And look, paid marketing has its ups and downs. It's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but it's less about paid marketing as a solution and more about what can I do in continuity to stay busy, to have people to talk to continually sell, et cetera, because in many cases, these warm markets dry up at some point in the future. Even if you're good at collecting referrals, it's not that scalable. It runs out eventually for many people, and you just don't have the staying power that you need to be successful, unfortunately, in the business. So the takeaway here, what's the takeaway here? More than anything, I would ask all of y'all out there, yes, I run an agency. Yes, of course, I recruit agents. But even if you don't work with me, you got to do your due diligence. You got to see around where you're looking at and do your research. You need to look on Reddit. You need to look on YouTube. You need to ask agents who currently work at these places. You need to get on Facebook groups. Just because you see one person successful doesn't mean it's necessarily everything it's supposed to be. In many cases, the people who run these organizations are the best salespeople. They're going to make everything sound as awesome as possible. So you need to proceed with caution, okay? So that's my takeaway here. I don't know for a fact if Northwestern is an MLM or not. I'm less concerned about that question, and I'm more concerned about your survival in this business. So many people fail out of this business unnecessarily. Now, some people there, it's not a good fit, and selling is not for them. Totally true. But a lot of people fail because they don't have the proper training. They don't have the proper support. What was presented to them is entirely different than what actually is. And many times agents don't get another shot in this business. They get burned out. They blow it. They invest a bunch of money. They join something, and it's frustrating. And that messes with their mindset, and they lose out on an opportunity that's absolutely incredible. So proceed with caution. I do think insurance is great. It's a great product to sell, of course. That's what I'm doing here, right? But you need to be careful. Your first year, especially, is the most important year in this business, and surviving it is critical. And so you want to make sure that you've got all of the resources aligned in your favor. If you don't, then the chances of failure are very high. And it's a shame because there are people who make six-figure incomes selling something like what we do, final expense. Some will sell Medicare, develop a six-figure a year residual renewal type of business model, or go on to grow an agency. They have freedom, autonomy, the ability to sell remotely, work on their terms. And all of that is because they either got lucky, that happens a lot, or they slow down, think about who they're joining, what they're doing, and then join an agency that best fits them. So take it from Uncle Dave.